Welcome to Water Peace Project's Water Crystal Photography and Consciousness Experiment Results Review and Discussion. And today is October 17th, and we chose this day to share this with you because this was the day that Dr. Emoto departed Earth. And today we're going to review our 4 global consciousness experiment results and our 4 water crystal photography experiments because we had dedicated those to Dr. Emoto over this past year. And we first began on World Water Day, and the second was on Earth Day. And the third experiment was on Dr. Emoto's birthday. And the fourth we just conducted on International Peace Day. So I am so excited to be here with all of you, and I'm very grateful. Hello, I'm Lindsay Fox, water researcher, international Hado instructor, and founder at Water Peace Project. And today I'm joined by my collaborators, research team, and our advisors at Water Peace Project. And please welcome my dear Hado sister, Dr. Kumunga Andrahanetti. And Kumunga is the founder at CALM, the Center for Advanced Learning of Mindfulness. Thank you for joining us, Kumi, my dear, and welcome.
Thank you for having us, Lindsay. Thank you.
And please welcome my Hado brother and teacher, and also the son of my late great teacher, Dr. Masaru Emoto. And Hiro carries on his father's legacy at IHM and Office Masaru Emoto, where we conducted our 4 water crystal experiments. Hello, Hiro. Thank you and welcome.
Hi, Lindsay. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. And also joining us today, we have Anton Fedorenko, who is our collaborator and advisor for these consciousness experiments. And Anton is also the developer at Aquasci, which is the online platform that we're using to conduct the group consciousness experiments. Anton, thank you for joining us and welcome.
Thank you very much, Lindsay.
And so today we're going to try to move quick through this. So if you're tuning in the first time and you want to know more about our experiments, you can just go to waterpeaceproject.org and you can read more about our team, our experiments, our schedule. We even have published research and everything's there. And actually we also have a video tab. So all of our videos previously from all the experiments are there also. So for exactly what we're reviewing today, I'll put the video link in the chat box for everyone. So these experiment results that we're reviewing today are from 2 simultaneous experiments. We conducted a water crystal experiment and a group consciousness experiment at the same time, where participants joined online to focus their attention on the water sample and direct their prayers of love and gratitude at the same exact time. So we had actually 2 water samples. One was located in the lab in Tokyo, where we did the water crystal photography experiment. And the other one was located in the lab in Germany, where we conducted the group consciousness experiment. And so I'd like to invite Hiro now to share with us how the experiment was conducted and also reveal the results. And before I do that, I just wanted to share my sincere love and gratitude for all your father's work. And I know that he touched me deeply, but his work continues to ripple out and make positive changes in the world. And so I'm really, truly grateful. And I really believe he's smiling upon us. And also, especially because we're living in the spirit of Hado instructors, like you shared on International Peace Days. So, and also I have a special quote I'd like to share. It's actually my favorite quote. And it goes like this: existence is vibration. And when we separate something into its smallest parts, we enter a strange world where all that exists is particles and waves. And the fact that everything is in the state of vibration also means that everything is creating sound. As that sound is created, the master listener to receive the sound is water. So Hiro, thank you so much. And we're really excited to see the results and share this with everyone today.
Yeah, thank you, Lindsay. So first, yeah, we did a prayer experiment for 4 times. The first we did on the World Water Day, and second on the Earth Day, and third on July 22nd, Dr. Emoto's birthday, and then fourth one on International Peace Day. And first, okay, I explained procedure of water crystal experiment briefly. So this is the water we prepared in our office. During the ceremony, we asked everybody to send a prayer to this water in Japan. Right after the water ceremony was conducted, the first thing I did, I grab this water and take it to the lab, and then first prepare for the experiment and drop 0.5 cc of water into 50 petri dishes. Then they freeze all the water drops and put them in the freezer for 24 hours. Then we use this microscope to observe water crystals from 50 petri dishes. He observed one by one for 50 petri dishes. So that's what we did right after the water ceremony was conducted for each time. Then here's experimental result. First, I'll show the control sample. Well, we have a 50 chances to observe water crystal, but these are typical crystals. So I introduced on 12 of them. So these distilled water we use, but just we don't do anything. So it's control. And you see some slides with the water crystal, but most of them actually like broken, or yeah, I cannot even find crystals. So these are normal actually. Then first water crystal experiment we did on the World Water Day. So there are many water crystals created. As you can see, there are more actually water crystals we could obtain, but this is result from the prayer experiment we did. So you can see the differences already. They're really beautiful. And this is the second prayer experiment we did on Earth Day. You see a beautiful water crystal, and there are some multiple water crystals. And Dr. Emoto says that hexagonal shape is really ideal shape for the water. So you see a lot of hexagonal shape from this result. And this one on the July 22nd, yeah, there are more water crystals. You can see there's some, you see two water crystals, several water crystals, but you see more and more beautiful. And the last one we did on the International Peace Day, and yeah, you see like flower kind of shape, and more water crystals, and very unique. And so yeah, this is the result.
Wow, Hiro, those are really, thank you for putting that together and sharing that with us. And also, when you put them like that, you can really see the difference. And, Kumunga is actually one of the few people certified in water crystal photography. And you experienced the same thing, Kumunga. Can you share that with us and your comment on the results?
Yeah, absolutely. All the 4 experiments show very clear results. And one thing that really struck me, from the water crystal photographs that you were showing, Hiro, John, is that as the experiments were progressing, the water crystals were becoming more and more dramatic.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's something very clear, what I saw right in front of me right now when you were explaining.
Mm-hmm.
So I think power of us all coming together over a period of time is very, very apparent with these results. Yeah, that was the very important thing I thought to share. And also, they are very unique, like you said. Each crystal is unique, and it speaks something to us. So I think it's really important that Lindsay is going to share a video of these water crystals later, and maybe take your time to look at them. Maybe pause the video and see what the water crystal will communicate to you for each and every ceremony. It may have a message for you. So, and that was my experience when I was in Japan. Water was speaking to me every time I would photograph a water crystal. Each water crystal had a message, and that was the teachings from water. So I'm very grateful to be a part of the ceremony, to do the prayers together, and to experience. And this, even, it was in 2010 where I met Lindsay. That was a time when I went to Japan to learn how to photograph the water crystals. So we've come 11 years later to do this together. So thank you very much, Lindsay, Hiro-chan, and Anton.
Thank you so much, Kumi. And I was feeling the same thing when, what does it speak to you? And actually what I saw, so clearly, in fact, I chose it for our background photo, the bottom crystal. That one was on Dr. Emoto's birthday, and it clearly has an E in the middle of it. And if that isn't speaking to you loud and clear, I know that he would be smiling, because Hiro, if you remember when I wanted to make an Emoto love bottle, and we were deciding which crystal image to put on it, and he said, "My crystal." And so we actually used the Masaru Emoto water crystal. But anyway, clearly that speaks loudly that is Emoto crystal.
Yeah, the water crystal exposed his name to tap water, Tokyo tap water. That's the water crystal, right?
From his business card.
Yes, he really liked it because tap water does not create, beautiful water crystal. But once he showed his name on it, it became beautiful. So he really loved it, and he used it on his business card. Yeah, I remember.
Well, I'm certain that this was a birthday gift with the E crystal right there, clear as a bell. And so simultaneously, we conducted another experiment in collaboration with Aquasci. And so what we did was we merged the two water sample images together, the one sample that was in Tokyo and the image of the water sample in Germany. And so when the participants joined the ceremony online, they were seeing both water samples at the same exact time. And so now I'd like to invite Anton to join us and explain from his perspective and what we were doing on Aquasci. And thank you, Anton, for joining us.
Thank you very much, Lindsay, and thank you very much, everyone, for conducting this experiment. Thank you very much, Hiro, for all the work you do and for developing that method to do those beautiful photographs. It's I didn't know actually details how exactly those experiments work, but it's beautiful, and I like how you did so many samples and you make all those pictures. Yeah, sorry for that guy who had to wear the jacket and sit in that cold room to do those experiments. Yeah. And for experiments, what we did on our side, as Lindsay mentioned, we had two pictures. So people were sending prayers to water in Tokyo and another water to the sample, which was in Germany. And in Germany, there are such devices called mind device or electroimpedance spectrometers. We had picture of this or similar to this sample, which was in Germany. And people also were sending their intentions to these samples. Inside we have two electrodes and which measure electric conductivity of water, and also have temperature sensors, so we'll very precisely measure the temperatures. I will show you how also in general the scheme of the experiment looks like, and what typical like graphs we get, and what are the main values we evaluate, and then I'll show you the results of 4 experiments. So again, this is device. Usually we have like 2 samples on the device, and in experiments, one of them usually control, another is test. But for this experiment, we actually had like 2 of these samples. People will focus on attention of the picture of 2 of these samples. So we're evaluating the effect on both samples at the same time. And so how it usually work? I mean, you go on AquaSci, or in this experiment, people focus on their attention on the sample picture. And through the picture, we considered there some kind of like entanglement between the picture and actual water sample. And during this, we can, again, it's like a hypothesis which we see, and that it is possible to affect water sample at a distance, at any distance, just by looking at its picture. There is like no like agreed explanation how it's possible, but there are some theories how it's possible. And our goal is to conduct experiments and to see, to measure those effects. And this device was important. It's working in Germany 24 hours a day, like 7 days a week. It's constantly working. And that's why we can do experiment. For example, we have 30-minute session, but we also know what was happening before the session started. So we have that control data. And then during the actual session, we have so-called like active data. So for example, this is typical graphs you can see on AquaSci for each session. The white area, it's 1.5 hours before the experiment started. And this gray area, it's when we were conducting the active session, time when people were actually focusing their attention on the water sample. And we have 2 lines for those 2 samples. One of them is impedance, it's red and black, and another 2 is green is temperature. And after session done, we calculate the value called probability, and that value represents what is the chance that effect was just random. Because water, when we measure it, it's not always, if you just measure without active affecting with your like mind, it's not always just straight line, because other like things affecting the water, like cosmic events or just local something happening, like a temperature fluctuations, like electromagnetic field, etc. So there's water have, let's say, their own life. It can have their raises and jumps. Therefore, usually we like consider 48 passive sessions which happened before our active session. So we have lots of sessions as a control, and this session as a like test session. And then we compare active session to control and see how it looks like compared to those ones. If this graph declining pretty high compared to the other sessions, we say that's probability that this effect was just random from like local events. We say it's like low probability that it's just random. Like therefore, it's high probability that it was happened due to our influence, due to participants focusing their attention. And like in some way, like at the moment, and see that this device works as a dice. You just throw the dice, or water, like throwing the dice, but you can affect like that 50% chance. Like if in average you have 50% chance it will be high or low, you can affect with your intention where you move like average value. And like here are the results of their 5 experiments. Here I will also explain more what those pro values means. Again, like pro value, the higher pro value, it means the higher chance that our effect was like not random. Usually, if you do many passive sessions with no one influence, pro value is at 50%. It would be like at 50% for like this device. Usually, if you affecting very strong effect have, your pro value will be coming close to 1. Like to 1, much higher. Like what I saw like right now from these 4 experiments, this is I don't know, in some way water like was more stable in those experiments than just in the control, because it's in average kind of lower or significantly at this moment. It's not much experiments, but at the moment like significantly lower than like average passive session value. So it's kind of water was just like more calmer in that those
It was more,
experiments.
it was more peaceful.
Yeah, kind of. I would say like on average now. Again, like usually this is like not fast express method to tell like yes or no. We usually, like I was done with other experiments with Lindsay, we have like 12 or 15 experiments, and then we see like more clearly. There will be like more experiments, and it will be interesting to see where other pro values go on this graph.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Anton. And so basically, the impact on the Aquasci site wasn't as great with those 4, but that's the summary of that, right? And what he also is saying is that, you know, we only conducted 4 experiments, and so, you know, the more that we conduct, you know, we can get a bigger picture of things like that. So we are going to repeat these experiments, which is exciting to me, and I hope the rest of you. And we're going to do it on the same schedule for 2022. So we will hope that everybody will join. Do you guys have any questions about that? And Hero, that was your first time of hearing about the results for Aquasci?
Yeah, I just wanted to know from the each result, so result different, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, but different from normal, just going down or going up. What?
yeah. If you take, for example, like 50 sessions of like water measurement, they will be kind of all over the place, different from like starting from 0 to 1. It will be like kind of normal distribution of those values. But on average, if you calculate all of those values, the like mean value would be like 50%. That's for, let's say, how the control water behave in general. Like if you would have test water, like also many experiments, I don't know, like 8, 10, like the more the better, but at least 8, 10 experiments, and if you calculate value, and it will be significantly different from that 50% like mean value of the control water sample, then we can say like it's different. Yeah, it's different. I mean, so far, yeah, it's kind of usually we consider those values, like I showed now, it's like 20% chance that effect was not, like on average was actually 30% chance that effect was caused by like prayer, by people.
By what
like,
we did.
at the moment. Yeah.
And one of the things I think what Hero was saying, did it go up or down? I think that's another thing to touch on. Looking at those Aquasci results, it doesn't necessarily need to go up to show that it can have an impact. It could go in either direction because it's, whether it's yin or yang or positive or negative, we don't really understand all that. Is that correct, Anton? Will you explain that a little bit?
Yeah. In general, on the graph, if the conductivity or temperature changes, it can go up or down. We not sure again how to induce the specific effect to increase or reduce those parameters. Yeah, at the moment we just measure if it's changed, then there was an effect, no matter which direction.
And so basically what he's saying is these results are showing the probability of our effect, right? So the more data that we're collecting, then we'll be able to see and sometimes we've had much higher probability, but still, even the fact that it's showing changes, and even if it's a low impact, it doesn't mean that there wasn't one. It just may not, what if half of the people participating are feeling positive and the other half are saying, I don't believe this?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm saying
it's
it's
also,
like,
you don't know who participated.
so you're getting
Also,
mixed emotions, right?
I have a comment. Also, for these particular 4 experiments, we kind of also gave the kind of attention to the water crystal sample, water sample in Japan. We always mention Japan than Germany, if you understand
We
me.
did
So
both. We did both, and they were
but our
merged together.
attention, yes, but our attention, when we always, like when I said something, our attention was actually drawn to water sample in Japan then, but you did other experiments just with Germany, right? Last year. So is there a difference between those results?
There, so far, I think it was about actually a little bit higher than 50%.
There you go.
So that one actually was closer to 50%. But yeah, what I see here so far, like, is interesting that it's like lower than 50. Like, again, control water have like almost 50%, like 50%, like theoretically. And here, like, is lower than 50%, which is also, if it will be, like, other experiment also will be around 50 or around 30% in average, I would like consider that also, like, yes, an effect, like, unusual, different from control.
That's what I was trying to point out, is exactly that.
Okay.
Like, even though it wasn't a high impact, it was different. And so that's what isn't clear yet as to what exactly is, how and what's taking place. If that's why those measurements are, it's kind of vague in a sense, even it's not like specific. But again, the more we can conduct together, the more, results we can see. So thanks for sharing that. And also, Hiro, thanks for putting that presentation together. And the crystals were really beautiful. I was wondering, how often have you done multiple experiments like that? And have you received ever, let's say, water from other prayers that did not have an impact? Or, I mean, prayer is pretty strong. So,
Yeah, well, we have done such experiment for several times before. And yeah, as you can see, sometimes actually didn't work the way we expected. We did a prayer experiment with this time, I think, I don't know, but a lot of people, right? But we did it with the one spiritual healer, sending that, and then we did several times, but this time was, I think, amazing. Like, we never had this result, very clear result that shows the difference between the control and prayer water. So, well, from perspective of water crystal, and I think the result was so amazing. People, join the ceremony really, I think, purely, said prayer. And maybe from next time we should decide a theme, or what kind of things we pray for, like, I don't know if it's love or it's gratitude, it's a harmony, or maybe because everybody pray differently, so maybe water kind of,
well, that's why we chose love and gratitude. I
Yeah.
think because most people understand that common feeling. And I just wanted to touch on that exact thing, is that, it's the unison that everyone's, the intention of everyone, the synchronicity, building that morphogenetic field, so to speak. And an interesting thing that, it's hard to do that where people are joining all online, someone's having breakfast, someone's going to dinner, everybody's doing different things. Someone's just looking and doesn't even know what they're looking at. And so that was something interesting that Dean Radin pointed out when we did our discussion with him, Anton, if you remember, he was talking about, they did an experiment with a healer, and actually it was the healer that, if I'm not, I think I'm correct, the healer had the greater effect, right, Anton? And he was saying that sometimes they found that that was more difficult to get these good results in groups because they weren't in harmony, they weren't in unison or in resonance. So, but when you focus on a word like love and gratitude, maybe that's how we can find a common ground, right? Isn't that true? That's what he said, Anton, about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The prayer results.
One person easier, two people can be more difficult, and the group even more difficult. Like he said, like make a soap bubble by yourself, it's easier. He said, but if two people try to blow the soap bubble with few straws, it's become almost impossible. Just like an analogy, he said.
I have a comment on here. My experience in Japan. Now, when I went to the lab, because I was there for like 5 or 6 weeks, if I meditated, didn't matter even if it was just me. If I meditated before I went into the lab to take the water crystals, the photographs, I had better results because my mind was not kind of interacting with the water. I was letting the water express itself. So I saw a clear difference between the same samples I had exposed to the same vibration, the sample that I would do my experiment without doing meditation and after meditation. So I made it a point after that I meditated at home before I even left to go to the office to conduct the experiments. So I think with our sense, with our experiment, the way we led the ceremony, I think had a power in that to settle people's mind, to create that harmony. I think that's so apparent in the water crystal photographs that we are seeing, because that's why I said, like, as we went on, we are seeing more and more dramatic water crystals, is because people who are joining in are more in sync with us. All of us are kind of getting into that zone better with more practice.
And we've been we were saying the same prayers for the past.
Exactly. It was the same intention. So we had more and more practice as we went on. And it was over a year, nearly a year, right? So I think there's definitely, and just don't forget, Lindsay, you started doing this, the water ceremony last year online. Last year, April on Earth Day, I think, was the first online ceremony. So we have been kind of practicing
1 year
to do, yeah. So I think it's pretty amazing to see how to create harmony. All of us coming together with one intention. We need practice, but if we keep trying at it, we can harmonize. Yeah. All of us can.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Dr. Emoto's message also, right? We're all different. We come from different places, but because we're all human, we can easily resonate with one another. And so, I think that's an important message. And I'm really looking forward to conducting more experiments. Obviously, everyone, you can check out and learn more about them at waterpeaceproject.org. Does anyone else have anything else they want to share before we sign off? We're good.
Thank you, everyone, for participating. Thank you very much. My gratitude to you.
Thank you, Anton.
Thank
you, Hero.
Thanks so much. Nice to meet you too.
Thank you, everyone. And we look forward to seeing you again. And thanks for joining us today for these results, and have a nice day. Thank you very much.
Yeah.